Concerns have been raised in recent days that the rolling power cuts could pose a threat to the country's national security. The Institute for Security Studies Gareth Newham has been commenting recently and claimed that we could see a spike in crime as a result of the ongoing outages. He was speaking to the National Press Club in recent days. Let's talk about this with someone else from the ISS, researcher Willem Els. Willem, a very good evening to you. Grateful for your time on News at Prime. National security, a threat to national security in particular, not words that you want to hear in any country. Why has load shedding reached that level?
Good evening to you. Yes, as my colleague Gareth rightly mentioned, we are experiencing some challenges at the moment due to load shedding, where we see a rising threat in our national security. Now, we must just stress that normally, national security threats are from outside. But we see in this case in South Africa, it is internal. And that is very serious because, as you rightly mentioned, also we also saw and experienced a crime surge in recent years months because the load shedding has been with us for some time. But now, with the increase in load shedding, we are expecting that we might see a huge surge in crime, especially theft, housebreaking, vehicle theft, etc., your economic crimes, and that is mainly due to our crime prevention strategies in South Africa is predominantly technology driven. And that means that we are dependent on electricity for the cameras, for the surveillance, for all the other things that we installed in terms to secure our houses and our premises, etc. And that has been severely affected by the load shedding. So that is one of the challenges that we see, and we also expect a crime surge. We must just look at that at the background of South Africa. That currently, in terms of the crime index, rates number 5 in Africa. That is extremely high. We are mentioned in one breath with countries like Somalia and Libya and the Central Republic of Africa,
right,
of African Republic. So that is a challenge for us. South Africa, that is sort of the beacon of hope on the southern tip, that we have gone that far down. So that is the one challenge that we face, but also the threat that we see is a socio-economic impact that it has, and the threat that it has on our country, and that mainly comes down to your job security. Many small businesses can't keep it up. They are laying people down. These people are becoming unemployed. They become insecure. They then now some of them venture into crime. There's a general slowdown in the economy that also threatens that job security, and all of that. And we experience that in the press and in sentiment expressed in recent days, is that the general public has lost its trust in government.
Okay,
and that is a serious threat to our security.
How critical is what you've just said in terms of managing then this potential threat to national security, the loss of trust, confidence in government? Because if government is going to lead the country through this process, it needs to have the backing of the people, and currently that's waning.
Of course, and that is a challenge. But it doesn't start just with the load shedding. It has come for a long way. It started way before and even during and after the state capture, because we saw that with the state capture there was a deliberate attempt to capture our intelligence services, to capture our police, our investigative capability, to capture the National Prosecution Authority, in order for these people to get away with what they are doing. And that weakened the system to such an extent that the men and women that are currently serving and that are really trying their best, they are fighting a losing battle, because they just seem to be overwhelmed by the surge of crime that is plaguing the country at the moment.
But you talk about a surge of crime. South Africa has experienced a surge of crime for many years now, and I wonder how scientifically complicated it might be to extract crimes that have increased as a result of load shedding in the coming or even previous periods from what was already a rampant crime spree in this country.
if you want to go on statistics, especially crime statistics is only available the next year. So what we are experiencing this year in terms of verified statistics will be available next year officially. So we will have to look at the trends. We will have to look at the rise in court cases, the rise in arrests that we can see in the press, etc., before we will be able to do a scientific analysis after the crime statistics have been released. But what we need to also address, and that is something that we are shying away a lot of in recent days because we do not want to be too harsh. And that is the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room in South Africa is government corruption. Unless we address government corruption, you're not going to regain the trust in government that they need to effectively govern this country, but also to effectively govern the crime surge and prevent that in South Africa.
In terms of the crimes where we're anticipating an increase as a result of these power cuts, am I right to say these would be in the area of burglaries, break-ins, hijackings?
That's correct. That's your so-called economic crimes that are perpetrated by people who are hungry at the lower end of the crime cycle, and who are then opportunity crimes, housebreaking, pickpocketing, those type of things that are targeting financial assets. But also we see a huge surge in your cyber crimes where the internet is being used with the targeting of finances of people, where they are being scammed, whether people are being extorted. We saw a huge rise or spike in the kidnapping for ransom in South Africa, for instance, in the recent months. And all of those goes hand in hand with a downturn in the economic terms of South Africa, but also because of the rule of law that has been neglected for some time.
Willem Els, good to speak to you, researcher with the Institute for Security Studies.